What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Under the Hood with John the Hood podcast. I'm Jay Hood with my crazy cousin Wiley. We're here every week to give you the best in sports-ish. There's some sports, but there's some sports-ish. If you are checking out our podcast, thanks so much. Make sure you download our podcast. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Also, subscribe to the YouTube as well. Like, share, and subscribe what you see with the Under the Hood content. We appreciate it. We're really making a run in 2024 to get more people under the tent, or in this case, more people under the hood. So thank you for checking it out. Cuzzo, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How you feeling, Cuzzo?
I'm good. There's just a lot going on.
It is.
Even though the NFL playoffs are taking place and the Bears are not in it, this offseason, we say this all the time, but for sure, this is a huge offseason for the Chicago Bears. This will tell a story the next 5 to 7 years. We want you to know, by the way, as we get into this, that we have merchandise is available for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Cuzzo, if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch, we have the Under the Hood hoodie that's available now. The link is in the bio of this podcast. Very nice.
Carolina blue is the best. And then yes.
The Under the Hood t-shirt smelling like a little wrinkled, so definitely the woman of the night has stopped by over the weekend. I can smell it. It smells like Charlie. Yeah. It smells like cheap perfume. So get your Under the Hood with Child the Hood t-shirt that's available now. And also we have other merchandise as well.
Yes. Once you after the t-shirt, you may need a little water, a little something to help you rejuvenate from a night of t-shirt wearing. And here is the Under the Hood water bottle. So, and then obviously with this below zero weather we've had, a lot of people have to be at home with their kids and or work from home. Get you a Under the Hood tumbler.
Yes.
A little vodka, a little whiskey, whatever your favorite beverage is. Put a little bit in here, and it makes things a lot easier. Trust me. I've had to fill my cup with a little bit over the holiday season as well. So get yourself a Under the Hood tumbler.
Make sure you leave your comments, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitch. We'll read your comments moving forward throughout the show. And the merchandise that we have is available now. The link will be in the bio of this podcast. And if you just need some warm thoughts, there you go. A little San Diego for you right there. Sometimes
no ice.
No, just
no ice.
Warm. See that? Just a little something, just to warm the viewer. See that? You know what
it helps.
That is the marina in San Diego. That is 82 degrees. That's where Peacock and I were. And sometimes you just have to go through those videos and those pictures just to stay warm when it's -10 Chicago.
Restaurant quality.
See that? So
yes.
you got to have that just in case, And then you have better times where you think, well, I can't wait for it to get warm so we can go be outside and kick it and just be bananas. Just like
that's it.
Right there. And that'll be coming soon. So that's all part of it as well. So I just want to get some warm thoughts. Let me just ask you this before we get underway. Why is it that kids just don't want to make money anymore? I mean, listen, we haven't had like a blizzard. It's not like Buffalo with the major snow and all the stuff that's happening to my friends in the Northeast. But the idea, man, like I know, like our family knows, there was a time, man, when you had a bad snow, you get that shovel, you get that scraper, and you know how kind of money you would make at the end of the day? The idea that just doesn't happen anymore. Listen, maybe your neighborhood it does, but here in South Shore, it does not happen. That no one's coming by with a shovel saying, "Can I do your walk?" What happened to the gregarious kid that would walk the streets to be able to make money taking care of people's homes?
Hood, I'm still a South Sider just like you are, and I'm still wondering why. I'm not saying the same thing. About maybe 5-10 years ago, I was still having people come up to my door saying, "Sir, can I shovel your sidewalk? Can I shovel this? Can I shovel that? Can I cut your grass? Can I do something to make some money? And I would pass out a few dollars. Those kids got older, and no new kids have replaced them. So I'm wondering the same thing. No one cares about the snow, the grass, the leaves, anything at all. Like, that was a great time to make money, and you could always count on, especially the seniors. The seniors would always be willing to give you a little extra because they knew you were out there doing the right thing, trying to make an honest living. But now, no, not at all. No one shows up. No one asks. Like, even if there were a dusting, like we've seen over the past week or so, you'd have kids at your door. Sir, I know it's like a quarter of an inch of snow outside, but you want me to get that up for you right there? And here's the thing. You may say no, but even if you say no, there's a chance you may give the kid $5, $10 just for stopping by. I'll take that chance. You're going to make some money. I don't know. I think maybe nowadays kids, they're spoiled by their parents, or someone has told them that, doing actual work is beneath them. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, just I know the way that we grew up, because we grew up, with a similar background, the same background, as a matter of fact. Man, it wasn't like that. The allowance was $50, like it might be, or $25, or even more, anything on a gift card, however it's done today. But right. I didn't know that you had to make your own money because it was tax-free, and you can never. I wasn't sharing with man Bob and saying, "Hey, you know how much I made today? $150. I wasn't going to give half. That's my money, right?" Like,
right.
They just, because they would encourage the hustle. That's the
yes.
Like, they would encourage. I was like, gone out there. Yes, I know it's their shovel, but it's my hustle. And
yes.
I'm up and down the streets in the South Side trying to be able to make ends meet, trying to make money, and I would make money. And I just don't understand how that's not a thing anymore. Not even old people do it anymore. But
no.
in this economy, the checks are so good that why should I work? Never mind about those help wanted signs. Why should I work? The check's pretty good.
It must be good, because you're right. Like, allowance was hit or miss for me when I was a kid. That was usually based on what I did to earn it, and it never was. It was never fit the actual chore. So it was pennies on a dollar. So literally, so you went outside.
Pennies on the dollar.
Yes, literally pennies. So you did. You went outside the home to make money, and that money helped sustain you, because we had parents who were not going to spend a lot of money on unnecessary things. So you're going to always get the things you need. The things you want were pretty much hit or miss. You may get those here and there, but if you wanted a lot of shit, you had to go earn it. And being able to, like you said, take your parents' shovel or their rake or whatever else and go earn some money, it was quick. It's quick. Especially in Chicago, though you rarely ran across a big yard. So the work you had to do was usually minimal.
True.
So, yeah.
That's true, unless they had a long driveway.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also an issue.
But even then, you got a little extra. Especially when the women were around, all you have to do was smile a little bit and say, "Yes, ma'am." Women love to smile. So when you're a kid, you can get it. You can get away with murder with a smile as a kid. Like, oh,
wait a minute.
It's okay, baby. It's okay.
Did you just say women love to smile? Is that what you said as a kid?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yes. A kid who smiles at a woman can pretty much get whatever they want. So, and that still rings true today. So if a child smiles at a woman, she will probably do whatever he says. Oh, you say what? Give you all my money? Okay, baby, here you go. Okay. It's just all my money.
All right, you turned your childhood into a Lifetime special. I don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, we're on Oprah. I don't know what happened. Wait just a second.
You know how that worked, Hood. As a kid, all you had to do was smile and say the right thing.
Oh, okay.
And
that's all.
And you got what you wanted. You just had to, yes, ma'am. Yes.
I don't think we're talking about shoveling snow anymore. I don't think.
Oh,
I think that's what we're talking about anymore. I think all
oh,
of a sudden now this has become a
so
creepy
we're,
Lifetime special against the
we're,
NFL. What happened there?
we're not in Alabama right now. Uh,
I'm just saying. I don't think Dr. King's dream was for you to be getting in with the older woman. On the,
hey,
I don't think that was his
hey,
dream.
hey, Dr. King. You know, he
What?
he had a little fun as well on the side.
Okay, let's not. What are we doing here? What are you doing, King? What are you doing? All right, let's move on before they can't take us off the air. Even YouTube would think that's too far. So, nonetheless, we move on and talk about the Chicago Bears. Here's an angle for you before we talk about the quarterback situation. So, as we record this here live at 6:48 Central Time, we saw that the Pittsburgh Steelers, somehow, some way, Mike Tomlin, found a way to be over 500 and get into the playoffs again. It is a miracle. What that team was, all the quarterbacks they've gone through, all the tumultuous nature that they've gone through as a football team, they somehow got to the playoffs. I knew they couldn't get past the Bills. They're on the road, tough spot, had to move the game to a different day, and they fell short against a good, resurgent Buffalo team. But here's something for you. So we've been seeing, as of late, Mike Tomlin having to make a decision at the end of the season for the Steelers on whether or not he's going to come back to the Steelers. Which is interesting because, for me, I've been saying all along, leave Mike Tomlin alone. The previous coaches were in the job for 25, 30 years. Why should he be expendable unless he wants to leave? So
Right.
I'm going to lob this grenade in before anyone else does. Now that Mike Tomlin and the Steelers have been eliminated from the playoffs by Buffalo, it makes me wonder if the Bears fall short of their goals, and I would imagine their goals to make the playoffs. If they were to fall short, would Eberflus be done? Because he's got a 4-year deal. This will be year 3 or 4 of the deal. And I did not want Matt Eberflus to come back. I thought that this was the time when there's a Belichick, there's a Vrabel, could be a Mike Tomlin, Jim Harbaugh. I mean, you think the quarterback class is rich, Cuzzo. What about the coaching class that's available? Haven't seen free agency and coaching like this in a long time. Big names. I'm just wondering, with Eberflus coming back, if they fall short, could the Bears consider Mike Tomlin if that's what he wants to do?
I think he would have to. If Eberflus falls short, he doesn't make the playoffs. The defense takes a step back. Maybe the offense is better this year because they have better coaching and better players. But I think you would have to look at a guy like Tomlin because of his resume. I mean, you can say whatever you want about the Steelers organization. I think it's the best organization in football, maybe in sports, because of like that level of consistency you don't see. Like we've had 5 coaches in the past 10 years. They've had 3 in the past 60.
Yes.
Like, that's unheard of. So I think you would have to look at a guy like that because what you can count on with Tomlin as your coach, you can count on the proper structure. You probably can pencil in 9 wins for your organization because he hasn't had a losing season yet. And I think that level of accountability is needed in a lot of places. So if the Bears come up short, it's probably because Eberflus came up short as a leader, not because of talent. It'll likely be because of him as a leader came up short. So I think if that happens and Poles and Warren decide they want to move on and Tomlin is a free agent, I don't see how you wouldn't take a look at him and say, hey, what you want to come over here and right this ship, and help us get to where we want to get to. So I think you have to take a look at that strongly.
I believe that as well. Because look, there's one of the two things that has to happen. The Bears cannot pass up on this quarterback class twice, Cuzzo. If you want to pass up on the head coaches, you want to do that, that's fine. I'm just saying, when's the next time you're going to get a Pete Carroll, a Mike Vrabel, a Bill Belichick, a Jim Harbaugh, and some of the other younger coaches, a Dan Quinn, who now is available, who, once again, the Cowboys did what they usually do, piss it down their legs, shit themselves, and go home.
Yes.
That's what they usually do in the playoffs. So because of that, there's another candidate, Dan Quinn, who I would love to have as Bears coach. He he knows both sides of the football, even though his heart is a defensive coordinator. I'm telling you is that, okay, so if the Bears swing and miss and they don't go for a head coach this offseason, next one, top of the list will be Mike Tomlin for me. So it would be Mike Tomlin, Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren in power with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
All I know is that Tomlin just wins. That's all I know. I know there's some Tomlin fatigue in Pittsburgh because the Steelers are entitled and feel like, hey, they should be always in the championship picture. But the thing that they don't take it into account is, man, life after Roethlisberger is tough.
It is.
Quarterback, I mean, for any team, like you that quarterback position has been stabilized in Pittsburgh for a while with Roethlisberger. He retires. Kenny Pickett, no. Mitch Trubisky, no. It's tough to try to replace one who played at a high level like Roethlisberger.
And then, I mean, just thinking of this year, you had a Christmas miracle with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer coming out, third-string quarterback coming out winning the last 3 games to get them into the playoffs. And no one expected that. No one expected Mason Rudolph to, his nose to guide the Steelers to the playoffs this year, but he pulled it off. And that's Tomlin having his finger on the pulse of his team and recognizing, like, hey, you know what, Kenny Pickett, I can't replace you because we don't have an adequate replacement for you, but we're going to stick with the hot hand. Mason Rudolph has been playing well. He's gotten us to this point we have a chance for the playoffs. We're going to ride the hot hand, and he rewarded them. Like, even today, they lost, but a lot of that was drop ball by some fumbles, drop ball. There was a bad interception.
Tight end. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got Pickens. He is a poor man's Antonio Brown. Mm-hmm. All the talent in the world, but just a head case. But yeah, Tomlin has his finger on the pulse of his teams, and that usually leads to some level of success. Success that we haven't seen in Chicago since Papa Bear Hallis was roaming the sidelines, and that's been, pretty much about 50 years. So
how about, again, a little warm thoughts just for those that's just a little something. I know it's cold everywhere, but there you go, right there for you. Just a little California sun, some water, just a little bit, just to give you a little something, just a warm thought just for a moment. All right, let's talk about this guy right here, Cuzzo. This guy.
Yes.
Caleb, right?
Yes.
Caleb. Now, so it's today on Monday the 15th. What a great day, because Caleb Williams, he is declaring for the NFL draft, and we knew that was going to happen. And so here we go with Caleb Williams. He's declaring for the draft. There's been so many things that's written about him negatively. My hope is that all the stuff's been written that he can stick it up everyone's ass, because already it's like all the entitlement, all the money that he makes, blah, 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 how he wants to have ownership, all this stuff, whatever. Most of the stuff that's written about him is untrue. I do have a connection to people that cover that team, not inside the program, but like cover the team. And they said, a really good guy, Caleb Williams. And then people look at the games that he played and say, oh, I mean, look at all the losing. How come they weren't a better football team? Well, this is what happens, Cuzzo. As you well know, I'm a huge college football fan. I live for Saturdays. If Sundays didn't exist, I would live for Saturdays because I love my college football, because it prepares me for this time now to be able to tell people all the games I saw with USC. And a lot of them were ugly because of how poor that defense was. But I didn't on Caleb Williams. He did the job more times than not. But people are looking for perfection. They think number 1 draft pick, he's supposed to be the very best. Well, you know what? Maybe he will be on the NFL level. But with that USC team, he put up numbers, incredible numbers for USC, for a team that couldn't get out of their own way defensively. What I'm telling you is that if it's not the Bears, it's going to be some team that he'll make a difference for. And if it's for the Bears, we in Chicago don't know what a good quarterback looks like. But yet someone's going to call Captain Jay Hood, the morning show I do every morning, 7 to 10 on ESPN 1000. And you can download the ESPN Chicago app to hear us every morning. People are going to tell me, well, I saw him in another Dame game, and boy, he wasn't very good. So you see one game, and you're going to tell me that the guy sucks, that, like he's in the mud? I'm not listening to that. If you watch the games with just one Google search, it's amazing, Wiley. In 2024, where there is a load of information, we become so ignorant. Even though it's again the information is right in front of you. Nah, I saw the one game. I wasn't impressed. Seriously, the guy can play the quarterback position. Now who's going to coach him, and who are his weapons? That matters to any team that Caleb Williams is going to be on.
So I agree. I think if there wasn't a Justin Fields coach in Chicago, and maybe probably around the country to a certain extent, you would hear the same things, because I hear so many fans hold Caleb Williams to a standard that they don't hold Justin Fields to as a pro. So they look and they say, well, he's holding the ball too long. He did this, he did that. He didn't play well against Notre Dame. Yeah. Like you said, it wasn't the only game he played. Or, his teams don't do well against top 25 opponents. That's because he doesn't have a great team. So you look at all those things, but then they also forget the best quarterback in the NFL right now also didn't have a lot of success against quality opponents in college. And no one would say Patrick Mahomes, isn't a stud. So you have to look at the talent, look at his talent, look at the talent around him, and say, did he maximize his potential? Did he maximize the talent on his roster? And I don't think you can look at what Caleb Williams has done over the past couple of years, or even what he did with Oklahoma, for a little bit, and say this kid doesn't have the pedigree to be an elite quarterback in the NFL. So you look, and the only question marks you have is him being a diva, or him making demands that are somewhat unique. But I think this is a different era of sports. Like, you have a guy like LeBron, one of the greatest players of all time. He's called the shots in every organization he's pretty much been in. So this isn't your granddad's sports leagues. This is a new era of sports where you have athletes that are empowered and they want to have a say in different things. And I'm okay with you having a say. But obviously, the owner in the other league has a chance to say no as well. So you can ask whatever you want to ask for, and that's all you're hearing is him making requests. And I have no issue with someone making requests, because you have that right as a professional, to ask for whatever you want in your contract, to ask whatever you want from your team. But that doesn't take away from your play on the field. So as long as he's playing at a high level, I don't care if he has, Mama Bear, if he can sleep in her bed at night, as long as he's playing well. So
wait a minute.
I'm fine with that.
Mama Bear? You don't mean Virginia. That's the
stuff. Well, I didn't say that. I said if he can sleep in her bed. I didn't say taste of porridge.
What it would be, I think, at this point. But that wouldn't taste good at all. You had to get that with a tablespoon, I think, at this point.
Right.
Thick oatmeal. Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, I have no issue. I think when it comes to the top two guys on the board, the Caleb Williams and Drake May, I don't think the best can go wrong with picking either one. And I think if they pick either one, we're going to finally have the quarterback we haven't had, and since Sid Luckman, since great number 42, the first franchise quarterback in the NFL, we'll finally break that curse. I'll finally buy my last jersey hood.
Yeah, I would like
for a decade.
I think it would be really dope for you to get yourself a Luckman jersey and walk around the South Side and see how that works.
I will. Stay tuned.
If anybody who's going to be doing it, it'd be you, Luckman.
Yes.
You know what? Actually, you in your circles, I think that works. You're known to have your bare ass out of a window in Evanston. That would work. That would definitely work. Oh my God, I like this kid, hun. He's got a Luckman. I think that would work for you. Actually, in your circles, Cousin Wiley, that actually works for you. I know you'd have it at the back of the car just in case, depending on what neighborhood you're going to. Bannockburn, Winnetka, spend it. Put on. He's one of the good ones. No bad, not so bad. I can see that happening. That is for sure. But when it comes to the quarterback situation, because we're going to talk about Bulls in a second, okay, and we have a very special guest that will join us here to talk about the Bulls and everything that's been going on over the weekend with the Bulls. Just one thing. Like, if you are a Justin Fields fan, it's okay to support the guy because from the beginning, it was going to be something new. Wiley was just something fresh. Like, okay, we're going to get a great athlete along with a great quarterback. And I can understand why people felt that that's what they were getting. But again, the Bears ruined the water by picking a lane and saying, we're going to tank. And then this year, you go from 3 to 7 wins, 7 wins this year. And there was some improvement. But again, just like the first year, injuries and ineptitude. This year, the same thing. The NFL moves quickly now. It's not the same NFL that we grew up with, where you try to be able to mold and shape a quarterback for 6 or 7 years, especially if the quarterback's underachieving or if the offense or the organization's underachieving. It's just, and I've been reading and hearing from people around the league, friends of mine that do what we do for a living, to talk sports. And, Miami's licking their chops at Fields. Atlanta's interested. New England's interested. It's interesting how people look at Fields and say, yeah, Chicago doesn't know what they're doing at a quarterback. We'll take him. We'll take him, absolutely. As a backup or as a starter, we'll take him because they see how dynamic he is with his feet. They see some of those highlights and go, he could be that guy. I wish he was that guy for the Bears. I wish the Bears had the infrastructure to have that extra wide receiver, that offensive line that's an iron gate in front of him, the ability for Fields to let the ball loose in 2.5 seconds and get the offense running. I say this all the time on ESPN 1000. When we watch the playoffs, when we see the playoffs, we're seeing the varsity. When the Bears play, that's the freshman-sophomore game. And that is like, why is that, Hood? And the reason why is because we run the football, we run into a wall, we turn the ball over, all these things where it looks half speed versus these dynamic offenses that we're seeing. Josh Allen and everybody else in between, Lamar Jackson with Baltimore, the ball gets out and the offense is moving and the defense is smash mouth. And it's just a whole different level than what the Bears do. And I just wish that Justin Fields was on a team like that. Maybe eventually that'll be the Bears, but it's just not now.
So as a Bears fan, as a diehard Bears fan, I don't want Justin Fields to go somewhere and suck. I'm perfectly fine with him going to another team and playing well. I just want the Bears quarterback to be elite. So if whether it's Caleb Williams or Drake May, if they're elite, an elite quarterback and Justin Fields goes somewhere and he's good or just a step or two below them, I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, I have no issue with that. If he goes somewhere and has success, I have no issue as long as the Bears have a guy on the center who is playing at a high level.
Let's talk Chicago Bulls right now. There's a lot to talk about with this Bulls team. We go to a man that has a very well-read blog. It's the ctjreport.net. Again, the ctjreport.net. As we have our conversation with CJ Taylor, make sure you check out his thoughts on so many things, including the Chicago Bulls. CJ, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me. How you doing, Cousin Wiley?
How's it going?
All right.
Thanks so much for joining us, man.
No problem.
We have got a lot to talk about, especially starting with this lady right here. That is the widow of Jerry Krause. If you're watching on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook, you see the widow of Jerry Krause. And let's start there, CJ. So, all right. I said at the time that Michael Reinsdorf came up with this idea, the CEO of the Bulls, let's have a Ring of Honor for the Chicago Bulls. And I said, okay, so you're coming up with this now. Nothing wrong with that. It's good to celebrate the championship Bulls. Yeah, why you're doing it? Because you need good PR around this Bulls team. As the Bulls do nothing as far as their front office is concerned, it's a moribund, kind of lousy franchise. You want to have a feel good for the Bulls, good PR. But the way they rush this through and just say, we have a Ring of Honor. Is Michael available? Michael's not available. No, he's laying up on a beach someplace. Scotty, you available? No. Is Mike going to be there? I'm not going to be there. I don't want to deal with that smoke. Rodney, you going to be there? Oh, it's snowing. I can't be there. They did this wrong. But on top of that, you knew that Jerry Krause would be honored at some point. Why'd you have to do it this year? Why'd you have to do it this year? But they decided to do it anyway. And so they put the picture of Jerry Krause on the big board at the United Center. The widow of Jerry Krause was there. They announced Jerry Krause is in the Ring of Honor. And all of a sudden, there's boos from all over the arena. So I want to get your initial reaction, CJ. When you saw that, what did you think?
I was thoroughly disgusted at the fans' response. they knew walking into that arena what was going to happen with this Ring of Honor ceremony. They knew from the moment that they walked into the arena that Jerry Krause was going to be a part of this ceremony. That was a bad look for the Chicago Bulls organization, the fans, the city of Chicago. Whatever your personal feelings were for Jerry Krause, during that time, what you felt about the breakup, whether he was responsible, other parties responsible, don't boo. Don't boo the man. The man's been dead for 7 years. His wife is there to accept the honor on his behalf. And that was classless. That was gutless on the fans' part. And you just have to do better and be better about that. What it's 25 years since the last Bulls championship, 25 going on 26 years since the last Bulls championship. Let those feelings go. Whatever your feelings were toward Jerry, let them go. Scottie Pippen did. He said on The Last Dance himself that Jerry Krause is the greatest general manager of all time. Michael certainly let it go in his own way by begrudgingly accepting the fact that certain trades and moves that Jerry Krause did benefited and helped the team.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you, as the fan, let that go? That was just a despicable display by the fans, and they just need to do better and be better about it.
Cousin?
Well, I thought it was classless. Like as a Bulls fan, Cross was the punching bag, for those championship teams, and I think he enjoyed being the role of the sleuth and all the other labels that he had because the Bulls were winning. And I felt like at the end, everyone pointed and said, "Oh, well, if you have Michael Jordan on your team, you'll win a lot of championships." It's not true. There are a lot of great players who've played their entire careers without winning rings. Dan Marino is probably arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. No rings. You have a lot of guys like Charles Barkley, one of the best basketball players of all time, 0 rings. Or someone sneaks in at the end and wins a ring. So just having Michael Jordan was not a guarantee of a ring because we saw that for his first 7-8 years with the Bulls. So I think you have to credit Cross for what he did, and to have the fans react that way, nearly 30 years later was just ridiculous. But I guess the question that I have, though, is did the Bulls not expect that? Like, maybe show the wife first as you're announcing him, to kind of, tap down on the potential bulls that you'll get from putting Cross's picture on the screen. I'm not excusing the fans for the reaction, but maybe show the wife, say, hey, she's here, and mention Cross, after you have her picture up on the board. But seeing, I'm being honest, Hood and CJ, seeing the reaction of his wife, if that was like my grandmother or my mother, I would want to hurt everyone in that place for that reaction right there. Like you couldn't stop me from wanting to put hands on whoever's present, seeing them react that way. It was ridiculous.
Oh, I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's and that kind of gets to Jay Hood's point about being able to structure that event a bit better, organize it a bit better. His wife was there. They knew that going in. So I agree with you. Show the picture or show her right on the screen as you're doing the accolades for Jerry Krause. Like I said, the thing about Krause, was he prickly? Yes. J Hood, you covered the Bulls, during that time. Krause loved kind of being the guy that liked to, keep secrets, like this was a CIA and everything like that. But you can't take away his accomplishments as the general manager of that team. He orchestrated, it was the architect of a team that gave us 6 championships and gave us a dynasty. And we can't say that about any of our sports teams here in Chicago. You can pick off a championship here with the White Sox, one from the Cubs. You kind of had a mini run with the Blackhawks, but a complete dynasty, like that was Jerry Krause's doing, whether you like the man or not. And then for yeah, this kind of gets my other point on why I thought the fans were, really classless and gutless. Say what you want about the breakup and how that all went down, and fans thinking, oh, we could have got, another 2, 3 rings out of this. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You saw that team in '98. They were out of gas
Mhm.
in that '98 season. They barely made it across the finish line. Could they have possibly have had one more run in them? Maybe, possibly. But to say that this was going to be a run of sustained excellence for like another 3, 4 years, no, out of the question. Outside of Michael and possibly Scotty, everybody else on that team was really past their prime. And we saw that the once the breakup happened. We saw Luke Longley unfortunately go through his knee injuries. We saw Dennis completely just, I don't know, disassociate himself with the passion of playing basketball. We saw all of these things happen. And then of course there was the whole Phil Jerry dynamic itself. Two huge egos that neither one of them were going to give ground to that. So I just, it's unfortunate how all that came about. It's unfortunate what happened on Friday. It was just a situation that should have been handled better on all fronts.
Yeah. So, first of all, the whether Thelma Krause's picture was up on the big board at the United Center or not, just the name of Jerry Krause would have had people booing. It just would have, because people just recoil at him, resent him, because someone had to be the villain in this situation. Jerry Krause, right as Phil Jackson signed his last deal with the Chicago Bulls, a 1-year deal, came on the radio on WGN and said, "I don't care if Phil goes 82-0. This is his last year with the Chicago Bulls." That's how tough it was. You were up front. You were an upfront cunt back in the day. Yeah, you would say it like front, right? It wasn't like it was hiding behind social media, hiding behind a Maya Angelou quote. It wasn't none of that. It was like, this is how it is. That's how it was back then. Like, Krause and Jordan didn't get along. Krause and Pippen didn't get along. Phil Jackson, same thing, because Krause thought that, hey, you know what, organizations win championships more so than you guys going up and down the roads and going up and down the floor. And so you wonder why these championship teams break up in Chicago, right? The Chicago Blackhawks, because of scandal, and also this tug of war on who's the reason why the Blackhawks win those championships. Is it Quinn Billis, the players, or is it the organization? Why the White Sox had to break up? They had the one championship with Ozzie Guillen, but yet there was a tug of war between Ozzie and Kevin. Why the Cubs break up? Because Madden, there was enough of Joe Madden. There was Joe Madden fatigue, apparently, between Madden and the front office. This Bulls situation. It is amazing that it always comes down to who gets the credit. Everybody gets the credit when you win a championship. Right. Everybody gets the credit. It'll happen to the Golden State Warriors, too. It will happen. It's already fraying at the edges with Golden State, but it's going to come to a head where Draymond's going to get on the podcast and say, you know what? It wasn't all about Myers. It wasn't all about Lacob. It was about the players. Steve Kerr was a tyrant. You'll hear something toward the end of this real run for Golden State. It happens all the time. Instead of just being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, I'm a Hall of Famer, multi-time champion. My kids are paid. This is awesome, right? No, it's always saying, I want my credit. And this is what happens to the Bulls. So, but to your point, CJ, it is correct that at some point, say that this thing would have kept going, like the Spurs would have had that ass, the Rockets would have had somebody would have, because it happened to the Celtics.
Yeah,
you guys remember the Celtics toward the end where Larry Bird was laying on his stomach because his back was out. The Celtics try to be cool like the Charlotte Hornets when they first came out. They put on black cons because, like, well, we got to keep up with everybody else. We're cool too. No, they were running them off the floor because that dynasty was over. They were old. They couldn't keep up anymore. I'll never forget that. So that's the whole thing with that. My thought, guys, is with this whole Ring of Honor, it's ill-conceived. Shouldn't happen the way it did. You make sure you ask Michael, when are you available? I got this trip, but I got this golf tournament. Just tell me when you're available. We'll do this shit in Grant Park. It don't have to be the United Center. We'll do this anytime that you're ready. The ring starts with you. We can't have a Ring of Honor without you. That's why it was the drizzling shits on Friday, because they did it because Steve Kerr was in town. Steve Kerr's in town? We got to do it because Steve's in town. For real? Really? One shot Steve is that you have to play the whole Ring of Honor around him. He was a good bull, don't get me wrong, but he was interchangeable. Okay? I mean, he was doing what Pax did, the key shot, right? Stay your ass in the corner. I'll let you know when you can shoot the ball, said Jordan. I mean, that's what it came down to, cousin. So my thought is
a punching bag for Jordan too.
Well, you can't have this
literally.
you can't have this without Jordan. Period. That's my whole thing. Go ahead, cousin.
No, I was agreeing with you. I said he was also a punching bag for Jordan as well. So I agree. I feel like this is probably something Michael Reinsdorf came up with. You know, he thought like doing what the Bears do, trying to relive the glory days and make a few dollars off reliving the glory days would be good for the organization on a cold winter night. But to your point, if Jordan isn't there, if Scotty isn't there, even if Rodman isn't there, it's not an event you should hold. So if you can't get a guarantee from at least two of those three, you don't hold the event. And none of them showed up. And how much of an attention whore is Phil Jackson? You know, he's almost 80. He doesn't have anything better to do to show up in Chicago on a cold January night to, you know, be honored. Like, you're one of the greatest coaches of all time. Why the fuck are you there? Why are you there? I understand all of, you know, the middling role players, you know, let them show up, let them get their accolades. You know, a lot of them guys haven't been around in a while. I'm fine with celebrating them. Why is Phil there? If Jordan isn't there, Scotty, Robert, why are you there? But he's like, oh yeah, I was here, put my feet up on the table. You know, no, leave your ass at home. Like, go find Jenny Bus or something, you know, and have some fun.
What do you mean have some fun? What are you saying?
Read a book.
Okay.
All right. Yoga, stretch.
At least he showed up. That's the whole point. And again, you could have rolled this out from year to year to year and expand this thing. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to just jam a whole bunch of players in, man. A Ring of Honor is supposed to be one at a time or a couple at a time. You didn't have to have 5 or 6 people. Luke Longley showing up, Tony. I mean, those guys should have their own night. Celebrate them on their own day. And again, you can't do this without Michael. So I just thought that, again, it's the Bulls. It shows you how bad the PR is with the Bulls. Then they come up with this now. And so I just, you know, Pippen ain't going to show because Michael's son is fucking his ex. So that's not going to happen. So that's done, right? It's just not, I mean, Pippen wasn't going to show unless Pippen had his own night, right? That makes sense. And then with Rodman, he said he got snowed out. Okay, well then let Rodman come in here last Tuesday. Why can't he do that? And then make sure he's available for Friday. That's why all this was just nonsense to me. I just didn't like it. Any final thoughts? Because we got to talk about the season.
Yeah, I mean, well, Pippen didn't even record a video. I mean, at least Rodman and Jordan recorded a video. Pippen wanted none of that shit, and I was just like, okay. That was the part to me that felt like this thing is completely disorganized. I kind of agree with you, Hood. If you're gonna do this in stages. Like, if I'm gonna do the Ring of Honor, I'm gonna start with, you know, the starting history of the Bulls. Yeah. Honor the start of the franchise, the Bulls, you know, the mid 70s that were, you know, championship contenders. Honor those guys, you know, in that Ring of Honor to kind of get the thing started. You know what the bulk of this is going to be about. It's going to be about Michael and Scotty and Phil and Dennis and the teams of the 90s, you know, that gave us the 6 titles, but honor the other guys, you know, honor Norm Van Leer, honor, you know, some of the former Bulls that kind of helped pave the way for all of this. So that was my final thoughts on it. Was Scotty's like complete, like, yeah, I'm not doing anything, no video, no message, nothing.
I mean, just scandalous, man. He's just on road. You know, just one quick thing about Norm Van Leer. I miss Norm. Yeah. No, you know, my career only worked with him one time, one show. That's funny because we were at the same station. You know, after my time at the Score, I worked with Norm when ESPN 1000 had the Bulls rights, and I did like a Bulls weekly show with him, like a 2.5 hour show. And we had never worked together, but we knew each other. And, you know, I'm doing my thing, you know, just running the show, just passing it to Norm because Norm's the guy, just setting him up so he could just be able to talk off the top of his head about the Bulls. And we go to commercial, and Norm said, man, "Hey man, you doing your thing? You all right? Hey, this is good. This sounds good." Yeah, Norm. Yeah, sounds good because you're the star. I'm just driving the show, and he felt so comfortable for whatever reason with me. I don't know what he thought of me before we did the show, but we did the show. He's like, I'm just comfortable. There was a loneliness with Norm that bothered me as well. Great guy because he'll talk to anybody. You just don't cross him, but otherwise he would. But there was I remember Peacock and I were at the old Ditka's when it was open. And we were there on New Year's Eve. Before kicking it, we got dinner first. You gotta get the dinner first and then going out to kick it afterwards. So we had dinner and we saw Norm outside the window, right? Just kind of walking the streets. And I just waved him in like Norm. And he just came in and the Ditka's knew him. So they just let him in like right to the dining place, right? You guys been to Ditka's when it was open, right?
Yeah.
On Chestnut Street. And I said, Norm, what's up, man? He was like, oh man, just walking around, just like I said, it's New Year's Eve. I said, you got any plans? No, man, just walking around, just enjoying the city, attitude, was watching, I said, pull up a chair, man. I know this is for two. It's like, let's get a chair. Just sit down. And we just had, he's telling old stories, and my wife and I was just entertaining him. He entertained us, and then we left, and he went to the bar afterwards. And I'm just like, damn. I know he's doing like pre and post for the Bulls for TV, but it's kind of like his wife and his family's in California, and there was like no in between. Like he wasn't really with anybody. And then I saw that several times, and I thought, damn, this is Norm Van Leer. It's a Bulls star. I'm like, that guy should be loved wherever he goes, and he is. But he just kind of was doing his own thing. He was a very unique person. I really enjoyed my time around Norm.
Speaking of love, the Bulls get Bob Love a new leather jacket.
It's the same one from Dude on the M. It's the same one, except it says Bulls, not Pele or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Right? They had the Pele jacket or Lotto or whatever, right? It's the same one, right?
For like 30 straight years, same levels. Like, man, you need a new one.
That thing must smell terrible. Because it's not the good one. I mean, I see Bob Love at the United Center. I don't know if he's trying to sell me some loose squares or not with that. Like, you got cigarettes, Bob? No. Like, all right, fine, no problem. We got to talk about the Bulls at large with the great Billy Donovan as the head coach for this Chicago Bulls team. So as we record this, the Bulls are 19-22, and they're going to lose to Cleveland. So they'll be 19-23 on the season, gentlemen. So CJ, and again, as we have our conversation, support CJ because he supports us. It's the ctjreport.net, the ctjreport.net. The only report that you'll ever need. Plenty on the Bears, plenty on the Bulls, plenty on pro wrestling and everything else in between. Also, a really good piece about Dr. King. Dr. King would love this show today. Yeah, he would love the conversation we're having today, except for my cousin's comments that was talking about King sleeping around. I think that was unnecessary, and this is why we're family. See, you're starting to get this now, right? You're starting to get. He says that he's a more handsome cousin. That's how I used to look, by the way. He's a more handsome cousin. He says shit I can't say. So this is why we have this. This would usually be on a text message, but now he's got the forum to just say anything. So this is what it is now. I keep my job, but he doesn't care. So 19-23, we think that the Bulls are going to be after this game against Cleveland. Give us your overall thoughts about the first half. What stood out most about the Bulls?
Dysfunction. Just if I could sum it up in one word, dysfunction. This team, I think all three of us have known this team has run its course probably about a year and a half ago. When they initially put this team together, you had Lonzo. He goes out with, horrific knee injury. Hopefully the kid, can somehow play again. But at this point, it looks bleak. You knew what this was 2 years ago once Lonzo got injured. And yet AK and Mark Eversley refused to pull the trigger on anything. You really had the chance to blow this thing up before the season started during the off season. You decided to stand pat again and bring virtually everybody back. And I don't know how they could think that you're just going to get different results. And you saw the ugly start that they got off to. I think they were 5-14. At one point before Zach went down with his foot injury. You can't continue to go through the same motions all the time and expect different results. You know who all these players are at this point. You know that the three of them, when you talk about Vucevic, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan, aren't really going to coexist to the point where the Bulls can really be in contention. Vucevic is a 7-footer, needs to be in the post. Well, that's where DeMar lives because that's his mid-range game, that old man YMCA game. It's great. I love seeing it. But at the same time, it takes away from what Vooch can do, which is why Vooch, stands out there and shoots anywhere from 4 to 7 3-pointers per night. And then there's Zach, who's paid like a star, has the star contract. And, he can score 25 to 30 a night. But what is that really getting you in terms of the team? I think Zach's performance throughout the year has kind of suffocated what some of the younger players can do. And you saw what the younger players could do once Zach went down. I kept tweeting. I was like, I'm not saying this is a better team without Zach. It's just a different team. It was a team that actually put forth effort, which is what you didn't see from your supposed 3 leaders. It was a team that actually went out and played hard, which is something you didn't see from your 3 leaders on a night in and night out basis. And, it was a team that just wanted to just go out there and show what they can do. You've seen the emergence of Kobe White since Zach went down. You've seen some of these younger players get a little shine. And now, you just, I don't know. I don't know what you're going to see now that Zach is back and everybody's back. I think this is going to eventually morph into what it was at the start of the season. You just have to let it go and start over.
What do you see as now you have with Zach back, Vucevic back in the lineup, and what is this team ceiling now? Because they're today is like the 9th seed in the East. Are they still a play-in team? And what can you get for a Zach LaVine, or are you going to have to pay to unload that contract?
Here's the thing, and this is just me. They're the 8th, 9th seed in the East. I don't think they can get any higher than that. I mean, if you're asking me, are they going to be better than Cleveland? No, we're seeing that tonight. I mean, they're getting waxed by Cleveland.
Yep.
Are they better than the Knicks? Probably not. We're not even going to discuss Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Boston. I mean, are they better than the Miami Heat?
Probably not. No.
Probably not. No. You start naming these teams throughout the East, and you're going to land the Bulls somewhere around 8 or 9. This is it. This is their ceiling. They're going to probably be in the play-in tournament. Maybe they can make it in the first round, depending upon matchups. But I mean, they get you a gentleman's sweep? Either at the hands of Boston or Milwaukee. What are you really doing with that? That's and and to your other thing about what can you get for Zach? Whatever you can at this point. I mean, whatever you can.
Well, a couple of things that I'm thinking about with this Bulls team. First of all, it's kind of like the Justin Fields conversation, guys, when we talk about Zach LaVine, in that I got no problem with Zach LaVine, but Zach LaVine is on a good team, the 3rd or 4th option.
Mm-hmm.
On this team, he has no other choice but to be the number 1 or number 2 option most nights. And again, that falls at the feet of the organization for not being able to look at this thing and say, we need to have the right shooting around Zach LaVine. We know that Zach maybe is not a number 1, obviously, on a good team because he hasn't been on this Bulls team. But, I used to have the opinion of Zach of like, oh, this guy is like the new Reggie Theus. He's like the best player on a bad team. I talked to Reggie about this. Reggie and I did a number of shows on Sirius XM on NBA radio. And I asked him directly, I go, What was it like to be the best player on a bad team? And for our younger listeners and viewers, Reggie was the man before Michael Jordan came to Chicago. He was the dude. And he scored a lot and had to carry this team during the dark ages of the Bulls. He said, you know what? It's very difficult because there's a lot of pressure. Is it because everyone wants to trade you? Everyone wants to get rid of you. I'm doing my thing, but I can't win with Kyle Macy and Orlando Woolridge and, like, you know, dudes that's doing coke. Like, I can't do anything with that. I just have two blondes on my arm when I leave, when I go down the road. Hey, no, my teammates are not winning every day because Rush Street Reggie was about it, right? I told Reggie this, by the way, what quick anecdote. I told him when I worked with him, I said, Reggie, you don't even understand how big you were in the city. I said, a lot of kids my age, when you were in the league, had a picture in their home of Jesus, Dr. King, and Reggie Theus, right? And he was like, I had Farrah Fawcett on my wall when I was coming up. I said, you don't even understand how important you were to the city because we didn't have any champions. I said, you were the dude. And he stopped joking and he was like, you know, I didn't even understand what you're saying there. I was like, yeah, you were big in the city. Like when we had nothing, we had no winners. It was you and Walter. That's all we had back then, right? So he understood his importance in the city. But nevertheless, I look at this with this Bulls team and I say, okay, Zach is just not the number one. But as Darnell Mayberry, who's been on the podcast before, told me from The Athletic, does a great job covering this Bulls team. Smart brother, knows his basketball. He told me, he says, Hood, they have to make a move. They can't stand pat. The deadline's right around the corner. You know this, right? Like they have to do something. And it's not the team's not gonna go into the tax, and nor should they. Who's out there that can really make this team that much better to get them to what CJ was talking about in the play-in tournament, 7th seed, and you bounced. So you have to make a deal here. And if that's Zach, it's Zach. Then if not him, then it's DeRozan. But you have to make some deals here. Because if you just stand pat and just roll out with it, the Magic's already better than you. You can add them too because the Bulls built it. So, the Bulls built the Magic. So the Magic, the Knicks, the Pacers, the Heat, the Cavs, the Sixers, the Bucks, the Celtics, and then where do the Bulls fit in that? Where do they fit? And so either you go backwards and you try to reimagine this thing through the draft, or you add on just to barely survive. That's when you're stuck. That's where the Bulls are.
I don't think the Bulls have an option other than trying to take a few steps back and build through the draft because who's your superstar player right now? Patrick Williams didn't emerge as the guy who people thought he would be. We thought he would be a mini Kawhi Leonard, and he is at best, you know, a homeless man's Kawhi Leonard, if that. And then you have Kobe White, who has played well with Zach LaVine out of the lineup, but can you say he's going to be your star going forward? No, he's a quality player to have, but we saw this team have success with guys like Vucevic and Zach LaVine out of the lineup. Andre Drummond refound his fountain of youth, you know, and played well, like a little Dennis Rodman when with Vucevic out of the lineup. And so we talked about this earlier this year, Hood. I think the questions you have to look at Billy Donovan. Up until Kobe White emerged over this past month or so, like you couldn't point to a guy who developed under Billy Donovan. You had players who left and got better, but you couldn't point to a guy who was on the roster who got better with him as head coach. The way he structures the lineups, the way he puts the team, the way him and AK put the team together, you can't look and say, okay, does this make sense? Because it took for LaVine to get hurt for you to realize, like, hey, that guy's good. Vucevic out of the lineup, hey, Andre Drummond can still play basketball. Why is he playing more? He isn't playing more because you have a head coach who, for whatever reason, doesn't know what he's doing now. You know, I don't know if the game is passing by.
Okay, fine. Then fire Billy Donovan. Then see what you got. Go ahead and fire him.
Yeah.
The reason why that you didn't see Andre Drummond get major minutes or some of these other guys, Javon Carter, some of these guys that get minutes, because you got to play your starters. Yeah, I mean, it's about the stars if you have any. that's what it comes down to. Like, you want to blame Billy Donovan? Like, Billy Donovan didn't put this team together. Billy Donovan came here to coach stars and to push a team into the playoffs. He didn't come here to coach Terry Taylor and Dalen Terry. Absolutely not. Billy Donovan, let me just tell you this. Let me just tell you this little insight. See how I could say it. If Billy Donovan, CJ, knew that the Bulls would be run this way, he wouldn't have gone back to coaching after Oklahoma City.
He'd be back in college.
Or just pick a team that has more stars, like a better rotation. Like, the way I have to say it, I have to say it like this until there's more information. I'll just put it this way. If he knew that the Bulls were going to be built like this through AK and Eversley, where it's like, well, this is what you have. Well, can you make this team better? Nope. Develop Kobe White. Okay. He wouldn't have come to the Bulls, because the best thing that AK and Eversley did is knock on Billy's door. And Billy was like, I'm not coaching. Oh, no, this is the money we want to pay you. This is a top shelf hire. And I thought it was at the time too. But what can he do with this team? I mean, that you say he hasn't developed anybody like Kobe White. If it's not development, it's empowerment. If nothing else, Kobe, shoot the fucking basketball. Keep shooting it. And look what's happened. This guy here could be comeback. It's not comeback play of the year, but it's most improved, right?
Most improved, yeah.
Okay, it's almost 20 points a game. We never thought we'd see that from Kobe White. I didn't like the draft pick. Combo guard. I'm like, too small. And look at him, okay? I mean, like, if nothing else, there's a guy that stands out, the guy that stands out the most on the team for improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Donovan on my list of reasons of why this Bulls team continues to underachieve is probably fourth or fifth, on the list. Because, like I said, he's got to coach whatever stars you think are on the team, and you legitimately at one point had 3 All-Stars, on the team. Why they are not able to coexist on the floor and make that work. I mean, Billy Donovan can only do so much. At some point, those 3 players on the floor have to learn to play with each other. And they never did. I mean, that's not to say that they're beefing with each other or anything like that, but it's just to say that on the court, it just doesn't mix. And if you're a coach and you're trying to squeeze that rock, as much as you can and try to get as much as you can out of it, you're just going to get to a point where this is it. This is all I can do. Billy's got the security because AK and Mark Eversley aren't going to fire him.
And if he does get fired, Billy will say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dead serious. Like he would say, okay, like, ain't nothing I can do. Like, because I know what you're saying. You're saying that because it's Billy Donovan that he should be able to push this boulder uphill. That dog don't hunt, man. Like, Zach's gonna do Zach, and DeRozan gonna do DeRozan, and then you've got a big that won't bang on the inside. He's a 3-point shooter because that's what the game provides today. And you got a bunch of role players like LeBron could take Alex Caruso now. He'd take him now. He'd take Zach now. I don't know what the haul you get back though, but I mean, maybe a Hachimura, a draft pick, and Russell.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell. Does that make sense? I mean, like that's what I keep hearing out of LA.
Yeah, I heard Austin Reeves. His name. Yeah.
The 100 level would love Austin Reeves. Yes. They would love Austin Reeves Bulls.
That would be perfect. That would be perfect for the Bulls. Try hard Bulls 3.0.
And then you could wear your Luckman jersey, cuzzo, right? On Austin Reeves and that's what we like, the grit.
But this gets back to the organization itself, how it's constructed, how it's run, how they evaluate talent. It is just in a lot of ways like the Bears. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And we keep finding themselves in basketball hell. You might get a team that, could, make it to the second round of the playoffs. But at the end of the day, because of how they're run, because of how they They do things. They won't get into the luxury tax. They won't really go out and spend, for, I mean, outside of the Zach thing, but they won't do what's necessary to elevate that team from point A to point B to point C to really get them into championship contention. And that's what the fans are really sitting back and going, okay, when is this going to happen? When we've been waiting since Derrick Rose unfortunate knee injury to kind of get back to where we were really in championship contention. And they keep spinning their wheels, for continuity's sake.
Ah, the continuity Bulls.
So how do you turn it around then? Because like as a Bulls fan, I look back and I say, okay, to me, John Paxson was the last, I guess, quote unquote GM who had success when it comes to acquiring players. Like he had a great run selecting guys through the draft. And then when they brought in Gar for whatever reason, to and moved them upstairs, things changed. And they haven't figured it out since then. So how do you get back to a point where you at least have one superstar on your team? Because having one superstar gives you a shot. Having multiple obviously puts you in the championship mix. The Bulls don't have an all-star at this point. So how do you get back to that point where you're competing for titles? Unlike the Bears, where I can see a light at the end of the tunnel, I see nothing with the Bulls. I can't tell you this 5-10 years to figure it out. So what do you do?
You hire Bob Myers. That's what you do. Someone that knows what the hell they're doing. Bob Myers helped build the Golden State Warriors. And he wanted to get out of there because he knew that the shitstorm was happening with them. He knew, because that's why he got out. It's so smart when you get out a year or two early, because he could have stayed in there, but he realizes injuries, dealing with Draymond, Steve Kerr's ego. He's like, I'm good. I got my championships. I got my money. I'm good. I'll do TV for a while. I'll help the Washington Commanders find their head coach and work with them and do something that's kind of a hobby for me, work in the NFL for a little bit. But you fire the general manager and the president of basketball operations. That's exactly, you start there. And then from there, you have to bottom out to get your way back up there again. And listen, I hate tanking, but you're stuck. It was stuck when Arturas Karnisovas got here. They were stuck right then, because it's like, you got to pay Zach, right? Did you have to pay Zach? Sure, you got to pay Zach, because if you don't pay Zach, what are you going to do? Well, maybe you're a year early. Maybe the Bulls are the Detroit Pistons then. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you are saddled with that contract. And so DeMar DeRozan, who kind of wants to finish as a Bull, the oldest Bull on the team, man, like, go get yourself a championship or go with a better team. But he likes it in Chicago. His family likes it here. I get it, but it's like, you're in some ways you're part of the problem, because you're just a third or fourth option on a good team also. And so you have Vucevic, also a third or fourth option on the Chicago Bulls. You have to redo this thing, and you got to be able to do it through the draft. Now, here's the thing. When I look at the upcoming draft, there's no one dynamic, Cuzzo. That's the whole thing. You have to be smart by making trades of your assets and to be able to find veterans to get yourself in the mix. Like, everybody can't win the championship, but you can at least get into be a playoff contender. Like, it's so top heavy in the East that you got to be able to get in where you fit in. And I would rather for the Bulls just to be able to be in the playoffs and build from there than to just be on the outside looking in. And then never paying money through the tax and going through what you're going through right now, which is not even mediocrity. It's just not very good. It's not a good product. It's inconsistent. We have got a lot of comments. CJ, you want to stick around for the comments?
Sure.
Okay. He wants to stay away. He wants to stay away from the family. I understand. This is and by the way, just another reminder, because it's so cold outside. There you go. On YouTube and on Twitch and on Facebook. There you go. A little warm weather. That's 80 degrees right there. A little San Diego for you. Once the wife sees that, CJ, she's gonna want a vacation. So she'll be doing a live vlog on that. On how you take on vacation. So
listen, she's already planning stuff. I got nearly a foot of snow out here. It's bad.
So let's see what we have here. All right. Mark says that the Bulls smell like an old bus seat. Uh, yeah, yeah. He thinks that they should. Mark says they should tear down, start over. Again, I hate tanking because we're in Chicago. It should always be a standard of a championship level standard or a playoff
Mhm.
standard. I hate that like we're being like we're Charlotte or Phoenix and just start over. Well, you got to tear it down. Like for some teams, it works well when you tear it down and build it back up. But for Chicago, the Cubs did it. Blackhawks did it. Sox kind of ran into a championship in '05.
Yeah.
I like our teams to win. That's what I want. I love the bus seat thought. And it is a Chicago sports theme. That is right, Mark, regarding, trying to figure out who you are. We were talking about the Bulls earlier and talking about the Ring of Honor. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Reinsdorf. He says, great point, Hoodie. Is it really a surprise with the Reinsdorf organization? Do you know Jerry was not there for the Ring of Honor? Did you see him?
I don't recall seeing him.
He was not there. So what does that say? That he was not there. Okay, I know it's his son's deal, but Jerry was the head of the Bulls at that time. He was not there for the Ring of Honor. Curtis Jackson checking in from snowy Minnesota. You think it's bad here? He's up in Minnesota right there, stuck. Thanks, Curtis, for checking in. Carlos with a K says he wakes up early in Tucson just to check out the real takes regarding Bears football and all things Chicago with Cap and Jay Hood. Then cap it off in the evenings with the Under the Hood crew. Yeah, Carlos, thank you so much for checking in on YouTube. We appreciate that. That's the one thing about about YouTube and the podcast, man. You can listen anytime, and it's so cool. There was a time in our business, if you didn't catch us live, you never caught us. You remember those days, Wiley? Just had to be able to listen live. You didn't listen live, you were shit out of luck.
Yes.
So let's see what else we have here. Let's see. Jimmy Thompson says, I love San Diego. He loves the picture of San Diego. Yeah. We were talking earlier, CJ, about how kids today do not they don't do the side hustle. The idea of when it's snowing, get that shovel out, make yourself $100, $200 going from house to house, place to place, get that shovel, get that. And if you're good, maybe you got some salt that you're bringing too. A little salt, a little scraper, and a little added touch. And of course, my cousin here took it to a different level where he said that it's always good to shovel, a single woman's home. Just give them a little smile. So I don't know what homes you were going to, but you were getting just cocoa. They didn't let you in. You were in for something else as a child.
Hey, I see the vision. I see the vision with that. So, props.
I understand, cousin. I don't know what homes you went to. Come on in, honey. Oh yes. And of course, during that time, I mean, it was uninhibited. They had the nice nightgown on, or they had the
right.
Yeah, like Foxy Roker from the Jeffersons, just a flowing dress but nothing underneath. I know that was your alley, cuzzo. That's what.
All right. You know what? Son comes back in the house, but she's like, "I like Wiley. He's a nice young man." So.
I don't want it. I don't think we can. My God. Jeez. Yeah.
There you go.
It was a time, man. It was always about trying to be able to get some money. That's for sure. Because that was a side hustle, and it was your money, by the way, tax free.
Yeah.
Shovel people's walk. It was your money. Robbie is telling us officially that Caleb Williams is a Bear. What do you think of that? Because you've been writing about that as well on the reports. Because now it's official. Caleb is going to declare for the draft, and it looks like the Bears will be looking in that direction.
I mean, if they get him, they get him. I just hope you can find an offensive play caller that's going to be able to, maximize his talents. I also hope that you're going to at least be able to get him a center and a right guard, possibly a left guard too. to kind of strengthen that offensive line. Look, it really didn't. It really doesn't matter who the quarterback is going to be for the Bears in 2024. You have to be able to put together an offensive line that's going to be able to protect. You're going to need another weapon besides DJ Moore for the quarterback to throw to. I like our running backs. It sure would help if you had a game breaker, in the backfield as well. Those are the things that Ryan Poles has got to be looking after with this upcoming draft. I mean, I said in my post, this is a monumental offseason for the Bears, and the decisions that Ryan Poles makes are going to alter this franchise for the next decade. If you decide to keep Justin Fields, cool. Get him the offensive line and weapons that he needs. If you decide to go to Caleb Williams, cool. Get him the offensive line and weapons that he needs to be successful. Either or, I'm good with. I like Justin Fields. I'm a Justin, Fields fan. Want to see the kid do well. Hopefully he's in the Bears uniform. But if not, come on, Caleb Williams, do what you got to do. I just want to see this team win and compete for Super Bowls. I'm tired of looking at Green Bay, decade after decade, continuing to find franchise quarterbacks while we continue to sit here and, go through this cycle every 2, 3, 4 years of just mediocrity to just piss poor football.
Jimmy Thompson, I've seen this. If I had $1 for every time I've read this already over the last month or so, I guess we should take Williams, but he seems to have a diva attitude. I don't give a fuck.
What quarterback does it?
Who gives a fuck? What? He has a diva attitude. Well, I want what? You know what? Where's my remote? I won't watch the Bears because the quarterback has a diva attitude. Good day. What? He has a diva attitude. What?
You can't You can't have an uppity quarterback on your team, Hood. You can't have these uppity guys. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Hood? Come on. Come on, Hood. Oh,
that's what that is. Yeah,
he's too colorful, Hood.
Yeah. I mean, God forbid. Who cares? Can he play? I mean, all your favorites, by the way, had a diva attitude. You know what had a diva attitude? Michael Jordan had a diva attitude. All your favorites have that extra something to motivate them.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? And Jimmy, we appreciate you watching, but you're part of the problem here in the Midwest because you gotta love your athletes. You gotta love your athletes. You gotta hug them and squeeze them and say, "I love you so much because you're my guy." Because because I got your jersey, I got your autograph. You're supposed to love your athletes. You're supposed to love the championships. All right, love the players for what they give to you more so than whether or not they're huggable or lovable. That's the problem around here. Lou Piniella said it when he first got here. He goes, "The problem around here with you guys is you love your fucking athletes. What about winning? I was from the fucking Yankees. Everyone hated us." Because those Billy Martin teams, they were not likable. Reggie Jackson was the face of the Yankees. You think people liked Reggie being that good in the 70s and the 80s? No, they did not. It wasn't about whether or not you wanted to hug those guys. It was about whether or not they could play. That's the whole point. He's got a diva attitude, so I won't watch.
Yeah, that's just even when they talk about all the culture and we want to have upstanding people within our organization. No, can they block? Can they run? Can they catch passes? Can they hit people? If they can do those things, they could be out banging chicks every night, 2-3 times a night. Don't care.
It doesn't matter. Like I get on Cap about this every morning. It's like he lays out that this person's a good person, a good in the community, and good in the room. Can he play?
Right.
Can the person play? Can he help my favorite team get a championship? I don't care. He can have numbers underneath his uniform. I don't care. It don't matter. Can the guy play or not? This whole thing that we got to love every athlete because he's good in the community and good in the room does not matter, man. Mark says that why don't the Bears sign Belichick as a special advisor and put his contract as coach in waiting? Wait, first of all, if you're Eberflus, would you like that? Would you like that? You're coming back as head coach, And by the way, Belichick's over your shoulder. Would you like that? He's only the goat. That's all.
Can I answer that? Can I answer the hood?
Sure.
Yes. He likes whatever Ryan Poles tells him to like. He likes it. If Ryan Poles says, eat some shit, oh yeah, I like this. It tastes pretty good. This is the best shit I've ever had. He's that guy. You listen to him talking to press conferences. He's whatever Ryan Poles says, he's like, oh yeah. I like this. This is great. This is fantastic. Fantastic. So yes, he would love it.
I'm sure Bill. I'm sure Bill would like to have like a corner office at Hallis Hall, just waiting to be a head coach again. Not that the Dallas Cowboys would ever want him, Mark. No, not like the Cowboys would want him or the Chargers would want him. He's only the greatest of all time. That's all. But yeah, no. The Bears could ask, but I'm telling you that's never going to happen. He could. Right. I find it really interesting, by the way, just briefly, that two best friends left their positions at the same time. Belichick got fired, by the way. I don't know if people know that. I know that it says that it was amicable. He was fired. Belichick was fired in New England. And with Saban, and they're both best friends, and they're both not coaching right now. It's interesting. It's almost like that was a telephone call. If you leave, I'll leave. You gonna leave? Okay, I'll leave too. Gone. That's kind of cool. Curtis in Minnesota says that does Wiley have the granddad nearby? Are you drinking? Do you have?
I got the Sagamore rye right here. So there you go.
DJ, you have a real good insight of our family. If you take our family tree, there's going to be some bottles falling out of it. Usually brown liquor. I mean, it's right there. That's why he acts this way. And I'm doing this sober. All I have is gummies. But he's doing it sober. It's amazing. Yes, Curtis says, please send him some granddad. Don't you have that in the liquor stores? Don't you have that? No, he's in Farmington, Minnesota.
He should. Still have some of that.
No, maybe not. I don't think. Maybe not. Minneapolis, yes. Did they clear that out after George Floyd? Did he clear out the liquor? Is it still? No. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Did he shut down the door? I don't know. Like he said he doesn't. He said no. There is no granddad over there. Yeah. So, and Anthony will stop us here and says, "Paint your nails. Who cares? Just win." I don't care. Yeah, I don't care.
Right.
This whole thing in this Midwest, we got to stop doing this. Mm-hmm. Put in the room. Take that. Stop, man. I don't care. Can you help us win? That's all that really matters. So there you have it, folks. Another edition of the Under the Hood podcast, right here. And so where's Rocco? Where is Rocky? Bring Rocco. That's how we close out the show. Oh my God!
Sit. Nope.
So there it is. Now watch this, CJ. Now watch the trick that he does here. Now watch this. Now he has his hand there and just like, why would he do that? Why would you? Could you give me your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts? I mean, look at it.
Hey, I wouldn't do it, but that's just me.
Wait just a second. It's like a circus. It's like a circus trick. Look at that. Why? Rocky, give us your thoughts. What do you think of the Bulls? Rocky, Bulls. Oh my God.
Oh.
Okay. I'll put up with this every week. All right. Don't forget to check out Peter's gonna get you. Peter can come to the South Side. Peter's gonna get you. I'm just telling you. The CTJreports.net is where you go to check out our guests. CJ Taylor, a lot on Dr. King today, on Dr. King Day. King would be so proud of you allowing your dog to bite you that way. And play
this is my dog.
Let freedom ring. I know that he was nonviolent against dogs too. Nonviolent, even against dogs. We know that. CJ, we appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you for being part of our nonsense.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for checking out. We'll talk to you next week, another edition of the Under the Hood podcast. So long, Rocky. Rocky! Oh, jeez. Don't do the hand thing anymore. I'm out of here. Don't do the hand again. Don't do that. The people are going to get you, and then you're going to be in trouble. Just telling you.